So I finally had the chance to meet James Quick in person as he was keynoting Refactor, which was also the conference that I was attending as a speaker. I asked him a few questions that might help you with your career. So here is the interview.
Like a lot of people, I think MySpace was a common entry point for people where you get to tweak like the HTML and CSS and you could like save that, I guess, for your website. I never did anything like that. In high school, other people were like programming their calculators to add games and stuff to it. I never did that and I never knew what it was about. And I was going to take AP Computer Science my senior year of high school. Just because other people were doing it, again, I didn't know anything about what it was, but I was a 4-year orchestra student. So I took orchestra to play my 4th year of violin instead of doing computer science. So I got into college, I got in specifically to the School of Engineering, and they asked me what I wanted to study, and I had no idea. I didn't want to do physics, I didn't want to do chemistry, I didn't want to be a doctor. And so I chose computer science, literally having no idea like what it was, having no expectation of what it was, having no idea that I would love it and I would continue to do it like 10, 15 years later. So I basically just kind of fell into it and I took like traditional CS 101 courses and just kind of went through that journey. And for me personally, like I treated computer science like school, like I got good grades, but I really didn't learn what was going on. I was really honestly kind of lost and I just like did whatever I could to get by. So anyway, the long story, or the end of that is like applying for jobs after college. I was really not in a good situation. Like I failed a couple of interviews because I couldn't answer basic object-oriented programming questions. Like I just really wasn't prepared the way I should have been because I didn't take it seriously. So I think for me, like during college and then especially beyond that, the most I've ever learned was just from trying to build stuff. In college, I did a Harry Potter trivia app. I just wanted to learn how to build Android apps, and so I chose that as a topic. And that was one of the best like learning experiences I had. It was what I talked about in most of my interviews. And that's always been a significant like indicator for me of like the best way to learn is just to go out and build something. You'll stumble, you'll make mistakes, but then you'll figure out what you need to do to correct them and to be able to build whatever it is you're trying to build. It makes sense in any industry in the current time to kind of question, does it make sense to go in this field? Computer science and technology and programming jobs, we've seen a lot of layoffs. That's undeniable. I was let go from my job about a year ago, which now I do content full time. It's a reasonable hesitation, it's a reasonable ask, but I still think like tech as a whole is in a great situation. But I do think it becomes more important to be strategic about what do you do to help yourself stand out like you were asking, and to kind of help yourself like if you have a job and do get let go or laid off, how are you going to find that next opportunity? And I'm a little bit biased about this because I do content creation full time, but my brand is everything to me. My brand is the most valuable asset that I own, and a good example of this for me is when I got let go, I posted on Twitter, say, hey, I got let go from my company. I'm potentially looking at new opportunities. If anyone has anything available, send me a message, send me a DM on Twitter. And I probably got like within a day or two, 100 DMs of people saying like, we have this role, would you be interested? And it wasn't just like, you could come interview for us. It was more of like, we would love for you to come work with us. And that was based on me having earned my reputation by creating value for developer communities over 10 plus years. And that's not something you can do overnight. But what I encourage people to do is think about your brand, think about what it is you want to be known for, and to create content around that. And content doesn't have to be videos or like interviews or blog posts. It could be a tweet. It could be contributing in a Discord community. It could be contributing in a Slack community. It could be giving a talk at a meetup. That's a great way for people to get exposure for themselves and also just get practice of speaking, which is, I think for me, always been a superpower in my career, is being able to communicate with people that are both technical and non-technical, because that comes really important. So when you think about being nervous, being scared, it's understandable, it's a natural reaction. I think the way you combat that is really investing in yourself and your skill set, and then investing in your brand by continuing to put yourself out there for the thing that you think you want to be known for. Going back to kind of the way I mistreated college computer science, I wouldn't approach it from a class perspective. Don't approach it from a grades perspective. Those things are obviously important. But what's more important is how you really connect with it and how you really learn what's going on behind the scenes, and less about the grades. Obviously, like if you can combine those and get good grades, that's great. But what I found is when I did something that I was particularly excited about, I excelled at it. When I worked on a project outside of class that was much more exciting than classwork at times. Not only learn new things, but also the things that I had been learning in class, those things made a lot more sense because now I was seeing it in something that was personal to me. So I would say, like, continue to do class, continue to get good grades, but find ways to make that fun for you, especially if you have flexibility in homework assignments of maybe you can choose to go a different direction, one versus another. Use that and do something fun. Build something fun and use that to kind of inspire your creativity and the way you look at the world, honestly, because as a developer, we can kind of look at the world and think, like, something that exists, we could change that. We could build something that is better or different or whatever, and that's why we see so many companies building products that now are replacing existing ways that we think about the world. So the power is at your fingertips. Learn to embrace it, learn to appreciate it, and just make it fun for yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James.
Yeah, thanks.